There has been a lot of talk recently about Wilfried Zaha. Where's he gonna go? Can he really stay at Crystal Palace? And the honest answer is, at this point, he sort of has to. He's been priced out of the market. Apparently Palace, Selhurst Park, want £80 million for him. Now that blows my mind. I can't see where the value is when Hazard is on sale for apparently 100 mil. Hazard, 100 million. Eden Hazard, World Cup. Wilfried Zaha, not even in the England squad. Why do people say stupid things like Wilfried Zaha is worth 80 million quid? And I know a lot of people have been calling for Spurs to buy Zaha. I'm against that because I don't see how he fits in the team. Number one, he wouldn't get into the first 11. And what's the point of buying a player for even 40 million? Especially for Spurs, if they aren't going to actually make an impact in the first team. He's not getting in ahead of Kane. He's not getting in ahead of Son. Eriksen, if he stays, he's not getting in ahead of him. Lucas Moura, 15 goals a season. What did Zaha get, 9 or 10? Well, Lucas Moura isn't worth 100 million, so why is Zaha? It blows my mind. And even Dele Alli, I mean, his link-up play is paramount to the way Spurs play. Yeah, you could say he's not been as clinical this season and he's had injuries. But would you rather have Zaha or Dele Alli in your team, and you know exactly who you're going to pick as Dele Alli every day of the week? The guy wants to play Champions League football, and I understand that he wants to play against the best teams in the world. But he doesn't get into the Spurs team. He doesn't get into the City team. He doesn't get into the Liverpool team. He doesn't get into the Arsenal team. Maybe he'd get into the Arsenal team. He'd get in the United team. And I think United is the only team that would probably need him. I mean, you could argue that Chelsea would need him potentially, but they can't buy him. They have that transfer ban potentially, so I don't see them being able to fork out 80 to 100 mil for Wilfried Zaha. But honestly, he just doesn't go in any of the top teams, and there's no point buying a player, especially for Spurs or Arsenal, for upwards of £40 million for them to sit on the bench and do nothing. Like Lucas Moura was 25 million quid. He sat on the bench for half a year, even an entire season, before he became productive. And I mean, he's paid off 10 times that because of what he's been able to do in the Champions League semi-final against Ajax. But come on, how is Lucas Moura worth 25 mil, and then you're saying to me that Wilfried Zaha is worth 100 million pounds? And he is allegedly on 130,000 pounds a week at Crystal Palace. Now, Spurs are not going to pay Wilfried Zaha 130. Did I say 130 million? 130,000 pounds a week. That's how much he's on. Spurs aren't paying that. I don't see any of the teams paying that. Maybe United are stupid enough to pay £130,000 a week for Wilfried Zaha. I think only probably Kane and Lloris are on 100 grand a week or more, or 150 grand a week. I think Son might be on 100 now. Why would you bust your wage structure for Wilfried Zaha? If you're going to bust your wage structure, you might as well bust it for like bloody Mbappe or Neymar. I mean, I wouldn't actually want Neymar in the Spurs team. Let's not play. I think that Wilfried Zaha is a good player. Let's not get it twisted. I think he's a good player, but I think he's like the best of the rest players. I think that someone like Ruben Neves could potentially fit in the Spurs team if Eriksen goes. I think that Tielemans could potentially fit in the Spurs team, and they are much, much cheaper compared to Wilfried Zaha, and their wages are much, much less. I just don't see why you would destroy your entire wage structure for a mid-range, good-ish player who really is not going to do anything for you. I mean, you put him in the team, you're going to take away goals from Moura, from Son, from Eriksen, from Kane. We're not going to score more goals because he's in the team. He's going to replace people who are scoring goals. You know, he's not going to be played in a defensive midfield role. So someone's going to have to come off the pitch. And really, I'm going to talk about Spurs and their transfer targets and who they should get probably after the Champions League final is done and we win. Please, we win. That would be really, really good. I'll talk about that afterwards. But someone like Ruben Neves, I think João Moutinho is probably the unsung hero of the Wolves team. I think he's had an incredible season. What he's been able to do with the centre of the park there is beyond me. I mean, Wolves in the Europa League, so that's a good thing. As long as they can get to the group stages, I think next year they'll have a very interesting and fun season for Molineux. So I think Wolves have sort of become everyone's second team. I think it was Leicester a couple of years ago where everyone was like, yeah, everyone loves Leicester. I think Wolves are that team. They play such enticing football. And I don't think anyone has a problem with Wolves. They're that team now where everyone's like, yeah, I like Wolves. They're solid. And I think it's, you know, João Moutinho, it's Ruben Neves, it's, who do they have in goal? I can't remember who they have in goal. But they have a bunch of very, very good players. And honestly, I think there's going to be a poaching going on for a good couple of them. If not this season, then next season. But back to Zaha. Spurs do not need Zaha. I remember watching Owen Hargreaves. He was like, you know who I'd like to see at Spurs? Zaha. Spurs are no longer a B-rate team, okay? Zaha is a B player. He's not... It sounds crazy. Lucas Moura is getting... He's becoming more and more relevant. Ali is a relevant player. Son is relevant. Kane is relevant. Eriksen is relevant. Llorente has had a great second half of the season out of nowhere. And trust me, there are D-list players. At Spurs, there are C-list players. I'm saying you don't buy a B-list player for 100 million. You just don't. It doesn't really add up. Why spend 100 million here when you could just get some youth players in? Why spend 100 million here when you can get 30 million players who will actually be sustained and be okay with coming off the bench and trying to get into the first team? Because Zaha is not going to want to sit on the bench. You know that for a fact. But that's just how I feel right now. I just can't see him being able to move away from Crystal Palace because they've priced him out of the market and his wages have priced him out of the market. It's absolutely crazy, the world of football we live in now. He's great for Palace. I hope he becomes a Palace legend. But if he wants to play Champions League football, he needs to cut his wages down. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, then a wolf will come after you. Yeah, talked about wolves. Yep. Really running thin on this type of stuff. It'll come after you. You don't want that. It will rip you to shreds. I should have said Wolverine. I should have said Wolverine. He'll come after you. You don't want that. You really don't. So just subscribe anyway to avoid that. I've been NarendraTheComic. You've been great. And I'll see you next time. Skadoosh.